Get.buzz. Arguing for the end of adult marijuana prohibition is easy because we have facts, science, reason, compassion, evidence, truth, and logic on our side. It is even easier when researchers catalog it all for us. Learn how to gather the facts on marijuana use, arrests, seizures, rehabs, drug tests, and more in this edition of Drug War Data Mining. Welcome back, everyone. 22 and a half after the hour. And in the data mine today, we're going to take a look at the 4 tables we viewed yesterday from the Monitoring the Future 2014 survey. These are the trends in the prevalence of use for various drugs. We're going to pay attention to marijuana for 8th, 10th, and 12th graders combined. We saw this table yesterday on the show. And what's nice about this is this gives us information on the use of marijuana and all sorts of other drugs. And it dates all the way back to 1991. We took a look at the row for marijuana and how we saw ranges from 22% and higher and lower as we go throughout time. But a lot of times this can be easier to view if you have it all in an Excel spreadsheet, some sort of graph program. Now, you can do a lot of these same techniques with the Open Office program. I know a lot of people prefer to use the free online versions of these things, but I'll be using Microsoft Excel for this just to give you a few ideas on how you could display this data. Let's switch to full screen on this. And as you can see, we've got this row, marijuana hashish. We're looking at the lifetime prevalence of the use of drugs. And this is our row for marijuana. And we have numbers that range from 1991 all the way to 2014. What we're going to do is we're going to take these numbers and place them into Excel so that we can graph them a little bit easier. So we'll switch over to our Excel program, and in there we'll just create some labels. We'll have lifetime, annual, monthly, and daily to match the 4 charts that we're going to be putting together. Now, here's a quick technique you can use to get the information out of the website. Highlight the numbers that you want and don't include any of the labels. You don't need the marijuana hashish. You don't need any of the percentages on the side. Just highlight the numbers from 1991 to 2014. And you can use a keyboard shortcut or right click to copy that information. Switch then over to Excel, and in your first row there for lifetime, you can right click and paste. And when you paste that information, there's going to be this little box that pops up next to it. Now, this is just for Excel. OpenOffice probably doesn't have a similar feature, but in Excel, this paste is giving you this paste options. And when you open it up, you'll see this option that says use the text import wizard, because what you'd be importing right now is just one cell chock full of numbers and spaces. But if you use the text import wizard, this pops up a little window and you can decide how the text needs to be imported. Delimited means all the text is a certain length, whereas fixed width means all the text is a certain length, whereas delimited means it's all separated by something. And in our case, all of our data is separated by a space for each column. So we're going to pick delimited and move next. The default choice is space. It already figured out that it's spaces that are separating this. You can confirm that. The rest of the steps aren't even really necessary. You can just click finish at this point, and you'll have all your numbers running from left to right. So let's go get the numbers for the annual prevalence. So here's our annual numbers that we'll highlight. Oops, make sure you get that 0.2 in there. So we'll highlight all the numbers, copy those, switch over to Excel, right click, and you can paste. And here's another quick tip hint. When you use that text import wizard, as soon as it pops up, just click finish. It's already set for delimited and space. Now we'll go get the monthly numbers. Monthly numbers found here in the Monitoring the Future survey. We can paste those in. And again, use the text import wizard and just finish. Those numbers will pop right up. And our final set of numbers, the daily numbers, I'll zoom in just a little bit so we can see, our daily use numbers from 1991 through 2014 for all combined grades. Right click and paste. And then we can use the text import wizard and finish. Now, reading the data this way might be troublesome because reading acrosswise is difficult. Plus, we don't have the years listed here. This data might be easier to work with if instead of it being landscape, so to speak, it was portrait. An easy way to do that in Excel is to just highlight your entire area. And there's a quick keyboard technique you can use for this. As long as your table is all contiguous, you can press Control A, and that's going to select the entire bounded table. Right-click that stuff to copy it, and then find yourself a blank spot and right-click. And in the paste options, you'll see one that's a transpose option. It'll preview what that's going to look like. And sure enough, that looks pretty good to me. Click transpose and you'll have your data all transposed. You don't need that top data anymore. So we're going to highlight the first 5 rows and right click and delete them because we've got the data we need listed this way. Right click on column A and insert, we can add the year. 1991 was the first year, 1992 was the second. Once you've typed in 2 years though, don't bother typing the rest. Just highlight both of those years and double click that little black dot in the bottom right corner. That'll fill in the rest of the years all the way throughout the rest of your graph. Then it's just a matter of selecting the entire section. And again, Control A is a quick way to do that. Control A gets everything highlighted. And to make a quick graph of this information, press F11 on your keyboard. F11 is a keyboard trick that really quickly makes a graph for you. Now, it's not the smartest thing in the world because it makes year, and I don't know if you can see that, year becomes one of the items to be graphed, when year should really be the axis. This is easy to fix though. There'll be a select data button up in your ribbon. And we just need to tell year that it is no longer to be graphed. You'll see the graph then starts to look a little more realistic. For your category axis labels, edit that, switch back to your sheet, and pick all those years to get your axis labels like we'd like to look. And now we have the year numbers on the bottom of the chart. A quick change chart type to a line chart, and you're done.